Well, welcome to a new Harry's Farm video, and I'm very pleased to say I'm back in my tractor office and we're doing some field work. On the last report, which was only Sunday, today is Thursday, I was standing in a giant puddle in a field and saying what is going to happen with the drilling this year, putting the wheat in. And then a remarkable thing happened. It was sunny on that particular Sunday, and it continued to be sunny, and then an easterly wind set in, which was a dream come true, and the land has dried out remarkably, especially where the first wheat was going, which is the wheat that follows a break crop, in my case that linseed. And we let the linseed grow up, volunteer linseed and weeds and things, because you get an effect called the green pump, which means that the sort of residue, the crop, if a field has sort of got weeds and things growing in it, those plants are using water to grow, and therefore they have an effect of slightly drying out the soil. And that, I think, is what's been happening on these fields destined for the first wheat. And all stars aligned decided on Tuesday night that this field could actually go into winter wheat, dried out remarkably. So the first job was to spray it off with Roundup, which we did sort of overnight on Tuesday. So yeah, it's all hands to the pump when this sort of things happens. But sprayers have amazing lights. Well, everything has amazing lights now. In fact, it's all LED technology. And you only need 24 hours with, once the Roundup's been applied before you can then cultivate or drill, in our case. So that was all happening Tuesday night. Wednesday, the chap who, John Walker, does the drilling, was finishing off another farm, got to our place about 6-7 o'clock last night, drilled to about midnight, and then there's two drivers on the drill. His cousin Tom is on the drill now, and yeah, we're flat out, and we should finish the first wheats in a couple of hours. And behind me is a rusty set of rolls that have been sat in my yard for a month, just doing nothing when I thought we'd be busy rolling. And I'm chancing my arm really, because it was sunny this morning, it's clouded over a bit now, to see if the ground is hazed off, as it's termed, enough to be able to roll. Because as I explained, you want to, if you can roll the ground, it's always better. The herbicides work better, keeps the slugs at bay. We haven't put any slug pellets on this ground, so I want to do everything I can to get the perfect flat finish. And rolling just compacts it down, and slugs can't move about so easily. That's the sort of theory. Right, anyway, I'm turning into the field now. I can't believe I haven't got a queue of cars behind, which is nice. But I'm going in a field. This field is weeks since I've done any field work, so it all feels a bit strange being in here again. But this is what farming can be like sometimes. It all happens in a sudden rush. And I just hope these rolls are going to behave and fold out and things. First thing you do when you come into a field, truck drivers, remember to turn the idiot lights off, the flashing beacons on top. It's so easy if you're driving a tractor to forget and then get teased by all your friends when they see, oh, you're driving around that field for hours with your flashing lights on. Right, now we have to get these rolls to fold out. They're a funny thing to fold. Basically, you've got to, if you reverse, they sort of suddenly start to spread out and fold, but God, they're a bit of a bitch to get going. I'd quite like to, these rolls are due a rebuild over the, whoa, wrong one. There we go, they're up, they're going. This is what they want to do. And then they flop out. Just choose a gear. Let's see what happens. What I'm looking for are these rolls going to pick up sort of bits of mud or not. I've let the tyres right down. We're about 10 psi and the tractor tyres, and I think this is going to work. But yeah, I've got a few hours of this to do, and then we'll move to the other farm. Unfortunately, it is due to pour of rain tonight. We only need another day, and we could actually finish, but I think, yeah, that's a bit too much to ask. We're in the field now. We were just drilling. I just want to show you what it sort of looks at soil level. You can see it, the sort of soil is quite fluffy, and it's sort of loose, and you can imagine if you're a slug, this is fairly easy to travel through, but it's a good seed bed. That's dry, that's got good structure, and you can sort of see the seed there. So there you go, those little, where did I saw one? There's a camera in the way. If I do that, there it is. Yeah, there's the seed just there, if you can see that. Yeah, there's a little seed and it's disappeared underneath. That's what I'm trying to bury, and you can also see there's quite a lot of this. So this is the volunteer linseed, but as I say, that was sprayed off. So although it looks a bit green, if you look along the lines, you can sort of haze of green. That's all been Roundup, so that should, it should just die off naturally on top of the surface. You can sort of see the effect of the rolls here. It just flattens it off and just leaves a finish for the herbicide, the pre-emergent herbicide, to work really well and give those slugs a hard time as well. Yeah, I've just come across the road just so you sort of see what I meant by that green pump. So this is, you can see all the weeds in this field here. This was sprayed off just over 24 hours ago with Roundup, but it just meant that because there was this growing here, some of the soil moisture has gone through the plant, and therefore this soil is slightly drier than it would have been had it been a bare soil. So yeah, I think that's really helped. The other thing that's helped is how stony this ground is. One thing we're really good at in this part of the Cotswold is growing stone, and there is soil there, but once this has been left for 5-6 weeks since it was cultivated, and that means it's had lots of rain and it's sort of washed the soil off the stone, so you just get an impression of how much stone there is in this sort of ground. It's quite remarkable. But I have farmed even stonier areas than this. So I think he's just about to get going. He basically, with the satellite navigation on the tractor, you can see that dome on top of the cab. It's incredibly precise, as I've explained before. But the first job you do when you come into the field is to go around the outside of the field, and then that tells all the mapping system, oh, that's the field we're in, that's the size of the field, and now I'm going to infill from that headland bout when he's gone round. So it's just weird when you'd never drill. It would be just impossible to drill a field like this not many years ago. And here we are, we just think this is normal, and some people are growing incredible cover crops, which is the next stage, and I'm going to investigate that over the winter. Is there a better way of doing it than we are now? Are we moving the soil too much? Could we go to zero till? That's what we're going to see. So that's what he's doing. He's mapping it out. He's not actually going to put it in the ground. He's just got to drive around the outside, as you can see, fly along. Doesn't want to start there, going to start somewhere else. And I'm going back to rolling because I've got to catch up. So what I didn't mention were the rolls just over 12 metres wide. And to reduce wheelings, I want to find the tramline marker. And you'll see here, I can see the tramline marker there. It's not easy to see, but you can see there is more of a groove in the soil there. That's one wheeling. Here's the other wheeling. So I've got to look for that in the field. If I get in that, then I know I'm on a tram line where all the wheelings, all the passes in the field are going to be. And because the rolls are 12 metres wide and the tram lines are 36 metres apart, I'll do a tram line, and then they will come up again, and I would travel in the next tram line along after 3 bouts of the 12 metres, if you get what I mean. But it just reduces wheelings. So that's all you're trying to do, is protect the precious soil, and you're trying to get this tilth. This is just perfect, and this tilth you just couldn't achieve if you'd ploughed in here. You would bash it and use a lot of diesel trying to get a tilth as good as this. Anyway, I'm yabbering, I need to get on. I've got a job to do. starting to get a bit marginal now, because this was drilled and finished at about 11 o'clock today, and we're coming up to 5 o'clock, so I'm just on it a bit early, and it's just starting to pick up on the rolls. And the weather forecast for tomorrow is looking awful. I wouldn't normally be going like this. I'd let it haze off some more, but it's so full of stones, this soil. 31st of October today. Are we actually going to get back in tomorrow? So I think I'm going to have to pack up in a minute and just park the rolls in the gateway and see what morning brings. Still, we've finished drilling the first week, so I'm pleased with that. And he's just gone over to the home farm and is just going to make a start on the second weeks. So we'll see. But yeah, this is getting... I haven't eaten enough carrots to carry on, and rolling, it's so easy to lose your way. You've got the lights on, you do get these mega lights, but for whatever reason it makes it harder to turn in. If you put them on, you can't really see much more. Very odd. Don't think it actually makes very good TV, this either. Right, we are finished for the night on rolling. Can't believe I got across the thing. Just see how it's stood. I mean, it's picking up there. Anything, any mud on that roll, they should run as clean as anything. But I'm pleased to have got that done. Pressing on with the drilling over at the farm, so I'm going to check that out, see how they're going. This front is still on its way. I think the rain's about midnight tonight. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me, but yeah, things aren't going so well. We've moved over to this other land. This is the second week going in, and the drill's blocking up because it's a bit wet still. The ground is a bit wet, and this was my dry fields, so I don't like that. Well, morning. After all the fun and games yesterday, I'm afraid the weather forecast was right, and it peed down with rain last night, and everything's a bit muddy and soggy this morning, including the drill, as you can see there. Let's go and have a closer look at that, and then I'll take you into the field. You're wondering, all that weight, you add a load of weight at the front so you can pick this thing up, because at the time you've put a ton of seed in the back, and then in these sort of sticking conditions, you can see it picks up mud as well on the frame. It's quite heavy, and you're picking it up on that linkage there. It's fully mounted, so otherwise you got to have that weight, otherwise you just never have the front wheels on the ground. By peering here, that's where you adjust the seed rate. You see on that thing, you screw that in and out. And you can put the seed rate where you are. You can normally also hit a button in the cab and put it up 10% or something if you see a bit lumpy ground or whatever. But yeah, not sure when it's going to go again. Forecast is another 5 days of wet, so that's not helpful. We got quite a lot done yesterday. I'm quite pleased to report that we got 90 of the 180 acres drilled, so half of it drilled yesterday, the winter week. And it just shows you that how quickly you can move. You think we only needed 2 days of drilling to complete all the drilling on this farm, and yet in October we only got the 1 day, 31st of October. And I have to say, this is the second wheat land here, and it's a bit sad. It's one of the things, if you start doing this at night, you can't really see exactly how well it's going. And yeah, I'm looking at this, and there's a bit of tilth there, but it's never going to get rolled. I'll show you what I mean. Yeah, if you look at my boots just filling up with mud, it's all a sorry sight. This is what a cultivated drill sort of leaves it as. Oh, it's as sticky as anything. There we go. There's the seed in that slot. There we go, down there. So reasonable soil cover, but just to me, look at the state of that. That is not a workable soil. And what I'm really afraid of, this just looks like open season to slugs because I'm never going to get this rolled. The rolls I left last night in a field thinking, oh, I just see the weather forecast is wrong and I'll just finish this field off, and I'm going to pull a load of mud out onto the road trying to get those out the field, and we'll see what happens. We're not continuing today. I suppose the big thing, I don't want to swap to spring cropping, spring barley at the moment, because the wheat price is already going up. I saw Farmers Weekly this morning, and there's only about, well, in there were some areas around 15% drilled, other areas about 25% drilled winter wheat. So we're really struggling right across the country to get winter wheat in, and the prices are already going up. They're 150 for next year, because it looks like there's going to be a shortage of this really wet season. It's a dramatic reduction in winter wheat drilling by the look of things, and everybody piles into spring barley. With Brexit coming, there's a lot of export of malt barley. It's going to be a tricky market, so I really want to grow winter wheat if I can, just to keep the farm potentially, well, hopefully profitable. The other thing we've done because of the conditions is adjust the seed rate. You saw us having all that seed dressed out, and we worked that out on 350 seeds per square metre, and that gave a rate, with 1,000 grain weight, of 190 kilos a hectare. So we've put that up 10%, try and get 380 seeds per hectare to make up for these dodgy conditions. So there you go, there's the latest update from Harry's farm. A bit soggy, a bit muddy, but I suppose I should be pleased. I've got 50% of the winter wheat in the ground, only another 90 acres to go, which we can do in a day. So there you go, that's what's happening on Harry's farm. Hope you enjoyed the video. More videos coming along very soon.